So let's rank all the films I watched for the first time last month, August 2025, that is. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. I'm the Big D, and this is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. I'm back with another video. Today I'll be ranking my first time watches for August 2025. There's an overall total of 18 films. Most of these films I've recently reviewed, and some I'll be planning to review sooner or later. Anyway, now of course I have resigned from doing rankings of rewatches, so I'm doing first time watches only, so I hope y'all understand that. This is a pretty good one, but has some pretty surprising ones though as well. Okay, that about covers it. There's an overall total of 18 films. Now, if you're ready, let's start the ranking. Sit back, relax, and here we go. Number 18 is the remake of Point Break from 2015. I'm gonna say this was okay and what have you, but it wasn't great though. It's not quite close to as good as the classic 1991 film with Keanu Reeves and the late great Patrick Swayze. No, while I appreciate the extreme stunts and sports moves and what have you, the motorcycle and the surfing and stuff like that, those I found pretty good. Some of the cast was okay, but I found this film to be a little inferior to the original in a way. So this is one film I didn't hate it. It could have been a little better, but I just didn't appreciate how it turned out though. But I still like the stunts though. It was pretty good. Next at number 17 is Get Off My Lawn. This is a brand new Tubi film from Mar Vista Entertainment. This came out a couple of months ago. I watched it and it was alright and what have you. It's about a sweet suburban couple who's terrorized by a deranged teenager and his friends after they purchase his grandfather's sacred home. It was alright and what have you. It wasn't that great though, as much some Tubi flicks are. Some I found were decent. This one I found to be okay. I did like it because it had Taj Mowry in it. I mean, it's been some time since I last saw him. But anyway, it did have some pretty shocking, surprising suspense thrills and what have you. But this is but it did have a few kind of twists and turns and craziness and what have you, especially with this deranged teenager, though. Yeah, so Get Off My Lawn is okay and what have you. Next at number 16 is Fixed. This is a new Netflix film from Sony Pictures Animation, directed by Genndy Tartakovsky, his first ever traditionally animated film. I was kind of mixed on this. Of course, this is about a dog who has 24 hours to squeeze in one last ball to the wall adventure with the boys after learning he's getting neutered. Well, it does have a pretty good, decent voice acting cast. I gotta say, its humor was just twisted and what have you. This was more crazy and more raunchier than what we got in the live action film Strays recently from just before this. But overall, Fixed was fine and what have you. Check out my spoiler free review if you haven't seen it yet. You might enjoy this, but you be the judge though. Okay? And coming in at number 15 is Fit for Murder. Now, this is a Tubi film from last year. I'll say this is okay. This is based on actual events. It focuses on the lives of fitness celebrities Craig Tyus and Kelly Ryan, who took a dark turn when they hired a young female assistant. I gotta say, this was kind of very suspenseful and very thrilling. It has its moments, but kind of more strange than what I could imagine. But, well, I'll say the film's okay and what have you. It just might not have been that great though, but I appreciate it for having focus on bodybuilders as the main characters though. Fit for Murder, it was an okay film. Now coming in at number 14 is Clown in a Cornfield. Now, I recently did a spoiler-free review of this one as well, about a girl and her father who have just moved to a quiet town called Kettle Springs, hoping for a fresh start. And instead, the girl discovers a fractured community that has fallen on hard times after the treasured corn syrup factory burned down. As the locals bicker amongst themselves and tensions boil over, a sinister, grim figure emerges from the cornfields to cleanse the town of its burdens, one bloody victim at a time. Of course, this is a clown called Frendo. I'm gonna say that was, yeah. Well, I will say some of the kills were pretty fair and decent, what have you. Maybe not decent, but I say they were okay. Maybe not great by any means, but yeah. I did like Will Sasso in this film. He was pretty good. Some of the rest of the cast was alright and what have you. I mean, but I will say this was pretty thrilling and yeah, very horrifying and terrifying in ways. Definitely. Check out my spoiler-free review if you haven't seen this yet. And coming in at number 13 is Eeny Meeny. Now, this is a new film that Hulu got on recently. I recently included this in a recent main reviews for it with another film, which is still ahead. Of course, the film follows the story of a former teenage getaway driver who gets dragged back into her unsavory past when a former employer offers her a chance to save the life of her chronically unreliable ex-boyfriend. I loved Samara Weaving's performance in the film. I thought she was pretty good. The rest of the cast wasn't too bad. I mean, we do have Andy Garcia and Steve Zahn. Yeah, they were pretty good. I will say it's just kind of a little different than what I had anticipated, but still, I found it to be pretty, well, good in some ways, especially in the final act. Of course, I didn't give that away. If you really want to know how that goes, see the movie if you want to. But anyway, Amy's pretty good, and it wasn't too bad. Now, coming in at number 12 is The Monkey. Now, this, of course, is based off of Stephen King's story and directed by Osgood Perkins, who did an exceptionally good job on directing this. Well, it didn't quite come close to as good as his other attempt before this, Longlegs. I will say this is pretty good and strange and what have you. Of course, it's about twin brothers who find a mysterious wind-up monkey, and then when that occurs, a series of outrageous deaths tear their family apart. 25 years later, this toy begins a new killing spree, forcing the brothers to confront the cursed toy. I gotta say, this is something. I haven't seen something like this since the Conjuring series. But even so, The Monkey is really a strange film, but I liked it. It had some pretty humorous bits, and some of its deaths were pretty good too, especially the swimming pool scene. Definitely. Check this film out. The Monkey, it's awesome in some ways. And coming in at number 11 is Wes Craven's Summer of Fear from 1978. Now, although this film was originally known as Stranger in Our House in the US, it was known as Summer of Fear in Europe. This is a made for TV film that Craven did after he had recently done The Hills Have Eyes, based on the novel by Lois Duncan, the writer behind I Know What You Did Last Summer, about a country family of five take in a charming cousin named Julie, whose parents recently died in a car crash. Though the teen, though Rachel, their teenage daughter, grows to suspect that she has an alternative agenda, one that possibly includes witchcraft. Yeah, but this does have a pretty good cast. Linda Blair's in this. I gotta say, she was good. Lee Purcell, good. It has lots of others and what have you. I might talk more about this sometime in our review. And this even has a young Fran Drescher in it as well. I watched it on Tubi. You gotta check it out. It's a pretty decent film. Maybe not one of the greats, but still pretty good though. Now for the top 10, coming in at number 10 is Species 2 from 1998. Yes, I finally took the time to watch the sequel to the 1995 classic itself, which I recently reviewed not so long ago. I won't get into too much of this, since I am going to review this later in the month. But we do have Natasha Henstridge back as Eve, and plus some of the cast, well, a few members from the previous movie. Well, maybe not, maybe a few, but a few. Like we have Michael Madsen, Mark Helgenberger. Heck, we have McKelty Williamson, George DeZunza, and James Cromwell, plus others. I'm gonna say this was pretty good and why pretty underrated sequel though it didn't do so hot at the box office so but I'll talk more about this when I review it later in the month, okay? But Species 2 not too bad of a film. Next up at number 9 is Goon from 2012. Now, I've been hearing about this movie at times, and I thought I'd check it out. This film stars Sean William Scott, of the American Pie franchise, as Doug Glass Slacker, who discovers he has a talent for brawling and approached by a minor league hockey coach and invited to join the team as the Muscle. Despite the fact he can't skate, his friend convinces him to give it a shot, and thus he becomes a hero to the team and their fans until the league's reigning goon becomes threatened by his success and decides even to score. I'll say Sean William Scott's really good as Doug Glatt. It's pretty cool. And it has some pretty good cast members, including, well, Eugene Levy's in this, and Jay Baruchel, who also co-wrote the screenplay for the film. That's really cool. Maybe one day I'll think of reviewing this film sometime. I haven't seen its sequel yet, but maybe I will sometime down the road. But I will say Goon is pretty good. And I really will say that Doug Glatt's really a brutal dude. This is based on actual events, too, as a matter of fact. Next at number 8 is Caught Stealing. Now, I recently featured this in a mini reviews vid with E. Meany. I've got to say, this film wasn't too bad than I had anticipated. Of course, it's about a burnout baseball player, well, an ex baseball player, who unexpectedly finds himself embroiled in a dangerous struggle for survival amidst the criminal underbelly of 1990s New York City, forced to navigate a treacherous underworld he never imagined. Yes, Austin Butler was pretty good in this. Zoe Kravitz was good. Regina King was good. Matt Smith, Lee Schreiber, Vincent D'Onofrio, who I didn't even recognize those two until I saw their names. This has a pretty good cast of YV, directed by Darren Aronofsky. I've got to say, this is a pretty good crime thriller. But anyway, check out my mini reviews vid to hear about this after Eeny Meeny. I gotta say, Caught Stealing's pretty awesome in YV with its intense sequences of violence and all that stuff. This had a lot of stuff I could never possibly imagine. Definitely. Next at number 7 is Neja or Naja or how you would say it, from 2019. Now this is a big anime film from China about a young boy who is born as a reincarnation of a demonic power into a society that hates and fears him. Though he's destined by prophecy to bring destruction to the world, he must choose between good and evil to see if he can change his fate. I gotta say, I watched the English dub of this film, and I thought it was pretty good. Now, though I was going to see the English dub of its sequel and failed because I was unaware that this was I don't know, a limited engagement or something like that. Because my theaters dropped after one measly week. I was rather disappointed with this. But that will change, though. If it comes to streaming, I am watching it, and I will review this and its sequel when I get a chance. Neja is really, really awesome, and its English dub cast is absolutely superb. A great film. I really did enjoy this. And coming in at number 6 is The Legend of Oshi. Now, unfortunately, I just checked my ranking. I made a slight error. I had this in seventh and Neja in sixth. So I humbly apologize for this. So I'll just go ahead and say this was my real seventh and Neja was sixth. I do apologize for that. But even so, I really loved Legend of Oshi. It was really good and what have you. Of course, it's about a shy farm girl who lives in a remote village on the island of Carpathia, and she's raised to fear an elusive animal species known as Ochi. But when she discovers a wounded baby Ochi that has been left behind, she escapes on a quest to bring him home. I really loved the performances from the whole cast. Willem Dafoe, Emily Watson, Finn Wolfhard, they were all good. But it was young Helena Zengel who really did well as Yuri. I almost didn't recognize her since this was the little girl from News of the World with Tom Hanks. Anyway, Legend of Oshi, I thought it was a nice little film. Now let's get back on the straight line, okay? Now coming at number five is Freakier Friday. Now, who would have thought we would get an actual sequel to the 2003 remake of Freaky Friday? I didn't, but we did. We have Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis back again as Tess and Anna Coleman. They really get into a really big predicament, especially with Anna's daughter Harper and well, a new schoolmate of hers, Lily, and unfortunately, it changes as their bodies get swapped big time. Believe me, if you love the first one, the 2003 film, this is its predecessors, and I think you're gonna get a lot of laughs from this one. I did. It was pretty funny and whatever. Check out my spoiler-free review if you haven't seen it yet. You might enjoy it. Next at number four is Nobody 2. Unfortunately, I'm rather disappointed this film's not been doing so hot since its release a couple of weeks back. Anyway, former assassin Hutch Mansell, once again played by Bob Odenkirk, takes his family on a nostalgic vacation to a small town theme park only to be pulled back into violence when they clash with a current operator, a crooked sheriff, and a ruthless crime boss. Yeah, this was really something, but I still loved it. I enjoyed it just about as much as the first one, although it's done okay, but I feel like it's underperforming though. We have Kai Nielsen back, their two kids are back, to Hutch and his wife, Becca. Sharon Stone's in this, John Ortiz, Colin Hanks. Yeah, RZA's back. He's pretty good. I gotta say, this film was so cool. I'm rather disappointed it's not doing so hot though. Now that it's available to rent and buy, yeah, on streaming before it even comes to big one like Peacock. Well, nobody's perfect. No pun intended. But Nobody 2, I really think it deserves to be looked into. Okay? Definitely. And coming in at number three, here's another sequel that's not been doing so hot, and that is The Bad Guys 2. Now, while I say if it is isn't doing so hot, well, maybe not factually. It's done okay. It's overall made 178 million on its $80 million budget so far. So it's done okay. Well, it might not come close to its predecessor, but at least everybody's gone to a lot of people's gone to see it. I had a lot of fun with this film, and I enjoyed just as much as its predecessor. But it did have a few fun moments. I mean, we got the same great cast, plus some new ones. At least we got some new ones in the Bad Girls, and I thought that was pretty cool additions to this scene, to this here flick. It was really cool. But will we get another one? I can't answer that. I hope for the best we will, since this has become a modest success in a way. But The Bad Guys 2, it had a lot of fun, action, and all sorts of comedy, just like what we got with the first one. Definitely check it out. I did do a spoiler-free review of that, same with Nobody 2 and Freaky Friday. And now for the final two. This was a tough decision to make because I got a classic I have been wanting to see since I heard Steam, and the other being a new horror film that's become so big. So coming in at number two is Fame from 1980. Yes, after all these years, I finally got to see the original classic itself. Of course, it chronicles the lives of several teenagers who attend a New York high school for students gifted in the performing arts. This film is so awesome, and I really loved it for what it had to offer. The music, the cast that included the late great Irene Cara, and a whole bunch of others, which I really did enjoy the performances. I really do love the songs, especially the title theme, which Miss Cara did. And I will say it is just so incredible. I love it. I will possibly review this, even though its anniversary was a few months ago, but I will try to make up for lost time and review this. I thought Fame was good. Now, I have yet to see its remake, though, which I know got hated on, and I understand, but we'll see what happens. But if Fame's second, then prepare yourself. This is a rare first. The first time in some time a horror movie has ever topped my first time watches ranking. My number one first time watch of August 2025 is none other than Final Destination Bloodlines. Wow, this was a blast. This is probably, in my opinion, the best Final Destination movie I've seen in years since the day this started 25 years ago. This was so incredible. Of course, it focuses on a college student who is plagued by a violent recurring nightmare and heads home to track down the one person who might be able to break the cycle and save her family from the grisly demise that inevitably awaits them all. I really love the premonition bit that takes place long before it's in a big, tall tower. I mean, that was blooming awesome. And the way it turned out, I thought that was good. This had some of the coolest kills I could ever imagine seeing. I mean, I love the cast and what have you. Yeah, a pretty good one. Kaylin Santawana, she was good as the main character. The rest of the cast wasn't too bad either. And as for the final appearance of the late, great, well, you know what I'm talking about. We, of course, lost Tony Todd. Yes, that's who I'm talking about. Yes, whom we sadly lost last year. He did one great job in his final performance as Bloodworth. I gotta say, he's so awesome, and I give him props for that. May he rest in peace. But anyway, this had a lot of good kills, and I really thought that this was probably the best. Definitely. I probably will talk more about this when I revisit the series later on and then rank them all. So that's going to do it. Final Destination Bloodlines is my top pick of a first time watch for August 2025. So, what did you think of this ranking? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, consider clicking the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel. You know the rest. Join me next time when I review the Lilo and Stitch remake. Oh joy, yay. Alright, so if you like this, check out my spoiler-free reviews for some of these films in the top 5. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of Final Destination Bloodlines. The upper right-hand corner is my review of The Bad Guys 2. And the bottom left-hand corner is my review of Nobody 2. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe if you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc. Then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.